Hi, Andy Herringshaw with Tractor Innovations, here today to show you the installation of a remote hydraulic kit on this Kubota B2601. This kit is absolutely the easiest and most affordable way to get remote hydraulics on your tractor. Today we're going to be installing also a hydraulic top link, which you can order off of my website. I have custom links, especially for these smaller tractors. I'm going to go through the installation for a single kit, which is what most people go for, but he wants a lot of capability on this tractor. He wants a top and tilt kit. So I'm going to go through the installation with one kit and then go back and add a second kit. So we're going to be installing that hydraulic top link as well as a hydraulic side link, which I have on my website as well, for large tractors down to these small tractors. Now this installation comes with a custom bracket for no drill installation. Installs with just the simple tools I've got here on the table with drills, wrenches, couple ratchets. So I'm going to take you through every step of the installation process so that you can do it at home. Today it's going on a Kubota, but I build these for all different brands of tractors, new and old. These newer Kubotas have the Swift-Attach manifold system, which provides a little extra challenge, but I'm going to show you all the parts included with this kit to work around that and make a dead simple installation. The kit for this B2601 with a Swift-Attach comes with this custom bracket that's going to allow us to hang the valves right here at a convenient spot without drilling into any of the plastic or metal here on the front of the tractor. We've got a couple spacers here and the bolts to mount it up. So I've got all this out of the hardware kit and a pair of 3/4 inch wrenches. So let's mount this valve right there. I'm going to go ahead and put the bolts into the bracket from the outside so it'll look really clean. All right, bolts in, spacers onto the bolts, and slide them right into those two holes. On the back, we're going to put washers, lock washers, and nuts. When we go to tighten it, there's a good bit of play here, but we're just going to try to get this as vertical as possible and tighten it in with the wrenches. It's easy to kind of get one started getting tight and then set that to vertical. There we go. With the bracket mounted in place, now I'm going to mount the valve onto the bracket. I've got my bolts and nuts from the hardware kit right here in a magnetic bowl and a pair of 1/2 inch wrenches to tighten. So this valve is going to mount on the inside of the bracket. And from right there, I can put a washer onto the bolt and slide it right through. Now I'm going to mount this up, but not tighten it completely because, like I said, I'm going to go through the installation and have it working with one kit, and then I'm going to come back through and add a second kit for that top and tilt. So these are all the steps for a single installation, but I'm not going to quite tighten it all down. All right, 1/2 inch wrenches, tighten this down. With that, this front part is completely mounted. Now we're going to go on to connect the hydraulics. For this tractor, that's going to involve loosening the loader system. In order to disconnect the Swift-Attach manifold, we do have to drop the bracket up front and partially remove the loader. Easy step if you've taken your loader off. It literally just takes a couple minutes. I'm going to show you all those steps, but we just can't quite release this manifold without loosening the loader brackets. We've got the loader partially removed. We don't have to back out of it or anything, but just enough space so that we can work with this quick release manifold without this loader arm being in the way. So with that released, now I'm going to relieve all the pressure in the loader. Okay, and now I can release this loader manifold. You pull out on the little red tab and lift this up and away. You may get a drop here or there, but these are really pretty clean systems. With this manifold out and loose, we are now going to install quick couplers on these spots instead of this entire manifold. With that manifold out of the way, we can see all 4 of these quick couplers. Red and blue, these back 2 are for the dump circuit. White and yellow are in front for the lift circuit. So this first kit we're going to install is going to be like for the hydraulic top link, which is normally put on the lift circuit. That's a beautiful thing because it gives you float function. This switching valve that we've installed comes with the quick couplers already on it. So this front one goes to the white and it just clips right on. This rear one goes to the yellow and it clips right in just like that. That is supplying the switching valve. That's all there is to it. Now I'm gonna undo the fittings on this manifold. So white and yellow are going to get quick couplers that will snap right onto the top of this switching valve. My front one was white, so I'm gonna do white first. I need a 3/4 inch wrench and a 7/8 wrench. 7/8 just holds still here on the manifold. 3/4 inch is gonna loosen this JIC connector. Once it's just a little loose, it comes apart by hand. You are gonna lose a couple drops of fluid here, but have your quick coupler handy. Thread it right in and tighten snugly. This doesn't need a whole lot of force. These JIC connectors seal up internally. So just put your hand into it. Don't put your whole arm into it. With a 3/4 inch wrench and a 5/8 here, I'm gonna just snug up this JIC connection. That's it, just putting your hand force into it, not whole arm force. Okay, so that is our white hose. On this manifold, look, it's got the colors marked with this little disc. I should bring that disc over, otherwise there's no marking on here. So I'm gonna undo that and put the white disc back on the quick coupler. With that quick coupler securely fastened on there, our white was our front one, so I'm just gonna connect it right here to the front circuit on the switching valve. Now repeat those same steps for the yellow. All right, yellow is connected to this quick coupler and it is secured in place. There we go. Last step to finish the hydraulic connection for a single valve is to replace these 2 parts of the manifold with simple quick couplers that will fasten right onto the manifold. Don't forget your colored disc there and secure it up. All right, we are done with this manifold. It can just totally go out of the way, go sell it on eBay, whatever you want to do. And we're going to connect these quick couplers back to their correct spots. Red to red and blue to blue. Take a minute and you can really get these hoses routed neatly for a really professional looking installation. Make sure those couplers click home, and to lock them you can even turn the collar there just a little bit and they can't come loose. When you want to loosen them, you will need to turn the collar back. You can see this little ball. You'll line that up with the collar and then it can pop loose. With that, our hydraulics are completely connected to the loader circuit. Now we just need to put the loader back in place and connect the hoses to the back of the tractor. with the supply and return from the switching valve connections made to the loader system, now I'm ready to take these remote hoses, and if you're running to the front for a grapple or other remote, you'll run them forward. For this tractor, we're going to be running them to the rear. So we're just going to take a minute and really work on our routing so that's neat. So I've got the hoses running right here behind the bracket. I think I want to bring them forward and sneak them right in here next to the other loader hoses, the supply lines here. So I'm going to bring this around, and then I'm going to look for a neat routing under the tractor that gives me places to zip tie these hoses up to. Sometimes they want to curl up, so I'm going to straighten them all out here. Yeah, I can zip tie these hoses neatly there and put them right in next to these supply lines that I can really fasten these hoses up neatly to. Go ahead and feed these hoses under the tractor and up above the axle next to the 3-point hitch. I've got the quick couplers run up inside the roll bar above the axle, and now we just need to find a spot to mount the quick coupler bracket. These two brackets go together just like that to hold onto the quick couplers, and there's a mounting bar. The single hole end goes onto the tractor, double hole end goes to these W brackets. So we just need to find a spot to mount these that the hoses can come off the bottom and not interfere with anything. He's got an extra toolbox mounted here. What I think we're going to do is remove this toolbox, drill for these quick coupler brackets, and then mount the toolbox right back in the same spot using the same bolts. All right, for this quick coupler, it's going to go right on top of this cross member, and I need enough space out to either side that the very outside tabs of these brackets won't be hitting anything on the tractor. We've got an existing hole there. I think I want to go just to the side so I'm not having to drill out that entire captive nut. I'm going to mark that hole and drill it. I'm going to show you the mounting here without the toolbox in place, then I'll go back later and add the toolbox. So a washer and a nut. This has a larger hole, so I like to have a washer on top of there. Lock washer and nut on the bottom. Now these W brackets, when they're together and holding on to these quick couplers, can mount either to the top, to the bottom, or sandwiching this mounting bar. For this installation, since I want that toolbox to mount here flush, we're going to run the hoses underneath this bar. This has about an inch face on it, so even putting these couplers on the bottom, these hoses, when they run through here, are going to hit the bottom of this. So what I need to do is take this bar, I'm going to go put it in a vise and put about an inch Z-bend in it to lower these couplers so my hoses aren't hitting the bottom of this crossbar. I took measurements on that bar. I want that bend to start about 1.5 inches out from the bolt hole, and I want it straightened out before these double holes. And since I am going to go back and make this a double kit, I'm going to go ahead and bend both of these the same. Got my marks on there, and I'm going to bend the end with a single mounting hole first. Got a piece of 3/4 inch EMT conduit. Any sort of pipe will do to make a nice straight bend. Bend it about 45 degrees. I like to get those angles straight. That looks pretty good right there. I'm going to repeat that for the other side. I'm going to go ahead and clamp them both side by side so I can make sure my angles match. You might as well make it look good, right? So that Z-bend is going to drop that whole bracket assembly just far enough that those hoses can clear this 1 inch or so right here. There we go. Let's go back to the tractor. To get these W brackets ready to go on the tractor, I like to pre-assemble them here on a table. That just makes my life easier. We're gonna put in the littlest bolts on the outside. Those are 1/4 inch bolts with a lock washer and the little nuts, and finger thread those on there just enough so the nut doesn't fall off. We want plenty of room to flex those to get them over the quick couplers. I'm gonna complete this installation without the toolbox here. I want you to see all the simple steps, then I'll come back later. And like I said, I'm gonna finish this video by installing a complete second kit, but I want you at least to have all the steps down and then you can see me finish it later. Mounting bar, bolt with a washer on it, ready to go through. I like to use 5/16 inch hardware here, so 5/16 hole, and we're ready with a 1/2 inch wrench. Okay, we take these 2 brackets, remember we kept them really loose, slide the quick coupler into there on both sides, and what you're looking for is about a 1/4 inch of the coupler sticking out each side of this bracket. That's going to let it bite into a couple of those grooves and finger tighten those outside nuts. With that, we can figure out how we want it to sit on this bracket on the mounting bar. Since we bent it down, I don't think it's going to make sense to go on top. Although that fitting, that works pretty well. We could also sandwich it here. That I think is the best looking mounting. We've got just enough clearance on this hose that it's not going to rub, and that's going to make a nice looking installation. Okay, with that bracket right where you want it, slide in the bolt, lock washer, and nut. Tighten with a 1/2 inch wrench and ratchet, the outsides with a 7/16. With that mounted, we are really finished with all the hard parts of the installation. I will go back and zip tie all those hoses up kind of out of the way and really to support them under the tractor. But let's finish this by installing the hydraulic top link. Even if you don't have an implement ready to go, a great thing to do before you finish at the back of the tractor is to take one of your quick couplers. The tips are included with the kit. Go ahead and make sure these quick couplers are functioning correctly. Make sure those hoses aren't binding anything. Take that quick coupler and just shove it in. It pushes to connect, pull out to disconnect. Perfect. Shove to connect, and you should see that inner piston push in and then spring back. If it's sprung back, you know it's connected. Pull to disconnect. That is perfect. I'm now going to go ahead and place this hydraulic top link on the tractor. I want to make sure this top link is not under any tension, and just watch your body here. If something were to move, you don't want to be in harm's way. So I'm going to just take all the tension off of this top link, and I'll know it's totally loose when I can remove this pin without any resistance. There we go. Pin out. Oh wow, these B-series make it a little tricky. I'm actually going to need to lower this arm in order to get the pin out. Okay, should not be a problem. I'm going to just disconnect from the box blade here. Watch out, parts could move. All right, just enough clearance there. The pin comes out. If you order a hydraulic top link from me, if you have one of these Kubota B-series, BX series, I shave the base end down because you've got a really narrow mounting point. If you buy one of these commercially somewhere online, it's not going to have that base end shaved down. You'll need to get out your grinder and do that. But I do that for you if you tell me that you've got a Kubota B-series, BX series. All right, that end is in. And I'm going to go ahead and connect the hydraulics here. Great. I'm going to fire up the tractor, and I'll be able to adjust this hydraulic top link to get it connected. Actually, how about I do that right there? With a quick hitch, it's so easy to move. And now from the operator station, I can adjust that out and pick this up without moving my body from the operator station. Let's go ahead and install the knob. We've got a lock washer on there. It just threads in to the piston. We'll tighten it as far as we can by hand. You'll often find that piston starts to turn, and I'd like to give it just a little more snug to get it really tight. So I'm going to take a pair of vice grips. You can grip onto this piston, but do not grab inside that circlip. You could damage the surface there. So I'm going to grip outside the circlip. Just hold it and give this another little turn. That's super tight. Not going to go anywhere. Okay, that knob goes just that easy. Let's test it out. We've got the installation complete, except for, you see those hoses drooping underneath. I'm gonna zip tie those up in a minute, but as promised, I'm gonna finish this video by making this a complete double kit for the hydraulic top and tilt on the rear by installing a second valve. But at least now you've seen all the steps to install one complete kit, and let me show you how this works. With the knob pulled out, I've got my complete normal loader function. So I've got dump function, raise and lower function. Of course, with the engine off, it'll only do what gravity allows. So push that knob in. Now the loader lift control is not going to go anywhere. It's locked in place. Forward and back movement is going to let that hydraulic top link move. I do always love going out and working on tractors myself because I'll run into problems that I sure couldn't have seen, and helps me understand what you customers are going through trying to install this. I put on this hydraulic top link and realized when I raise the 3-point all the way up, it contacts this bar right across here. Not a problem. All I need to do is turn the body of the hydraulic top link over. It's these fittings on the top that are actually hitting and causing the problem. So I'm going to undo the pin here at the base, flip it over 180 degrees, and these fittings will be on the bottom where they can't be causing clearance problems. Again, make sure everything is at rest, nothing is going to move. When you take a pin out, it should feel pretty loose. There we go. All right, I'm also going to take a second, turning that around, really bound these hoses up. And when I tested it, I found that pulling back on the lever brought the hydraulic top link in. I want it to be the opposite. I want it to be really intuitive. Pulling back pushes out, forward brings it forward. So I'm going to swap these hydraulic quick couplers. You can't hurt anything if you hook it up backwards. Tested it, didn't like it, so I'm going to swap them. All right, that ended up with a really nice looking routing. I'm ready to fire the tractor back up and make sure I like its final format. I'm at the back of the tractor to reinstall this mounting bar. Take a look at this picture. The quick couplers mounted straight out with the mounting bar just a little bit bent created this situation. And the quick couplers were hitting the quick hitch. That wouldn't be a problem if you didn't have a quick hitch, but we've got to get it dialed in for this tractor with a quick hitch. So I went back to the vise and bent this bracket a little further. Now it's ready to go on in this configuration. That's going to bring our quick couplers lower and much further inboard to the tractor. The problem was they were sticking too far out. That mounting bar is totally up to you. It can go all sorts of different places depending on the configuration of your tractor. All right, now I'm gonna run it up and down again and watch this clearance. Make sure that quick hitch isn't hitting those couplers. We've got the hydraulics connected and dialed in this rear end where the quick couplers were hitting the quick hitch. So we've got that angle all corrected. You can see we're really finished except for those hoses draping under the tractor. And as promised, I'm going to go back and show you this complete installation as a double kit that will give you top and tilt functions on the rear. You could also install this one circuit to the rear, one circuit to the front if you wanted to run a grapple, something like that. But for now, we've got this installed on the lift circuit. So let me fire up this tractor and show you how that works. With the engine off, let me show you how this works. I've got the knob pulled out. This is the opposite of some kits where it mounts on the outside of a bracket. This valve is on the inside, so when I pull out, the loader is active. With it pulled out, I've got complete normal loader function, dump, and lift. Of course, with the engine off, I can only do what gravity allows. So when I want to use this rear remote, push in on the knob, and now forward and back motion controls the hydraulic top link. I love this because you also have float function. If you want to let that rear end drift until it finds its happy medium, you can use that. And then if I want to go back to using the loader, pull out on that knob and I've got complete loader function. Let me show you that again with the engine on. Knob out, completely normal loader function. Lift, dump. And the hydraulic top link is locked in place. When this knob is out, push it in. Now I've got control of the hydraulic top link. And I still have my dump. Now let me complete this installation with the double kit. To install this as a double kit, I'm simply going to mount the second switching valve right here on the outside of the bracket. So I need to use these longer bolts instead of those bolts I used for the single kit. Run that bolt through both switching valves, lock washer and nut on the inside. To hook this up as a double kit is actually easier than as a single kit. Let me show you why. To disconnect any quick couplers, remember to release all the hydraulic pressure in the system. My white and yellow, my lift circuit, are connected to the switching valve. They're going to stay right there. But I'm going to release this red and blue. Now it's super efficient to hook this up as a double kit because I don't have to buy these extra quick couplers. I can give you a price discount on a double kit because the flat face quick couplers are already included in this kit. So let me go ahead and connect these. The front one is going to go to the red because red is in front inside here. And sorry you can't see quite as well. I'm able to put the second kit on without removing the loader at all. So it's a little harder to see. All right, the supply hoses into the switching valve are connected. And now I'm going to put these smaller quick couplers on right here and connect the hoses to that instead of the manifold or instead of these additional quick couplers that were required when I was doing a single kit. And I'm gonna remember to take these discs over to these JIC connectors. Let's see, blue is in the back. There we go. Now we repeat for the red. Now remember, if you're doing this as a double install from the start, we would be removing them from the manifold right now. We're only swapping those over because I installed it as a single kit first. This is kind of nice. Connecting the quick coupler first, it's holding everything steady while I tighten. Okay, that's tight. We got all our colored discs there. So when we disconnect, it's so easy to put it back together. And hydraulically, we are totally connected. Just like the first kit, I'm gonna find a routing for these hoses to their ultimate destination. Remember, you could hook this up to the front for a grapple, but this one's gonna go to the rear for a top and tilt kit. These hoses are on the outside, and I'm gonna cross them over right into that same area for a really clean install. This one I'm gonna take around the back. I don't wanna add any width to the tractor. Right there. I'm now going to run these under the tractor and up to the left side of the 3-point hitch. To mount this second set of remotes on the back, I'm going to put them over here on the left side. I had kind of thought I would have space over here right next to these, but on the back of these B-Series tractors, it's pretty tight, and especially with a hydraulic top link moving in this space right here, I'm going to be much happier with it right over here, stuck up against the fender here. So I'm going to move the warning flag, and to get this nice and symmetrical, I'm gonna measure out from the roll bar 4 inches and mount in the same spot. I have my mounting bar bent into that Z shape, getting those couplers really in tight to the tractor, because if I had them too long, they were hitting that quick hitch. Drop in the bolt and tighten it up. I'm going to mirror the other side. I'm going to make sure my hoses are really neatly routed. And I've got some interference with the other hoses. I'm going to take just a second and tuck these hoses on the correct side of them. There we go. Yeah, that gives me a really clean routing and easy to zip tie these up into a safe spot. The bracket I've pre-assembled on the workbench. Slide it onto the couplers. And again, just finger tighten those outer bolts. Make sure that bracket is sitting in a groove of the coupler. And we're gonna put it together just like the other side. There we go. Again, before I leave the back of the tractor, I'm going to take one of these quick coupler tips and just make sure I can shove in to connect, pull out to disconnect. There we go. Those quick couplers are in a great spot. Again, I'll test before I get done with everything. Raise this up, tilt it all the way in, make sure these quick couplers aren't in the way of anything. But since they're mirroring the other side, I believe they're good to go. Last step is to get these hoses in their final spots and zip tie them so it really ends up with a safe installation for these hoses. They aren't rubbing on anything, and it just gets it looking great. Well, Well, there you have it, the simplest and most affordable way to get remote hydraulics on your tractor. Today it was on a Kubota B Series, but I build these for the entire Kubota line and lots of other brands. John Deere, New Holland, Coyote, Branson, all of them out there. Today we installed a double remote hydraulic kit, so he was getting a top and tilt function on the back, 4 complete ports on the back. We could also run 2 ports to the back, 2 ports to the front, or you could install this as a single kit. So if you would, before you go, hit like for this video and subscribe to my channel. I will have more installs coming soon. That really helps other people find these videos and improve their tractors as well. My website and phone number are in the link just below. Please give me a call or check out my website. Let me know how I can help you improve your tractor. Thanks for watching.